I could never look at anybody and say, I hope you go to hell. You know, we've had some pretty bad people too. Bin Laden, Hitler, and, you know, me. Oh, I remember one time Pastor Bob getting a message saying that, you know, you're so evil, I can't believe you call yourself a pastor, and I hope you go to hell. I can't imagine wishing that on anyone, no matter how bad we think they are. I can't imagine that. But sometimes I think our looks tell a different story. This year at Audio Feed, we had this merch table where we sold stuff for Pastor Bob. We had mugs, and he had his coffee there, you know, we had t-shirts, just all kind of stuff. One of the things that he did is if you bought a bag of his coffee, then you got a free mug, and he had purchased a case of mugs for that. Every bit of this coming out of his pocket, okay? So he said, before Audio Feed, he said, if you sell a bag of this coffee, I want you to give one of these mugs away. Now, over here, he had some other mugs, and these mugs were pretty expensive. He bought them, again, out of his pocket. These mugs, his cost on them, in fact, I think we were selling them below his cost on them. I was sitting there selling these mugs, and this guy comes through the merch line, and he wants to buy a cap, a bag of coffee, and he says, and I want that mug for free. And I said, well, sir, those mugs there aren't for free. Those are, you know, those are being sold as a benefit for the homeless people. And he said, well, I want that one. I don't want this one here. This one here is cheap. And I said, well, I'm sorry, sir. I said, this is what Pastor Bob has bought, you know, to do this with. And he made this look that was just, it was just a nasty look, you know, with his face. And I said, well, sir, I said, well, you know, this is all a benefit, and that's not very nice. And he looked at me with this look like you know what I'm talking about. And he said, do I look like I'm trying to be nice? I didn't say a word. I was just like, well, you know, it is what it is, you know. The other night, I was sitting in my chair in the living room. It was late. I've been having late nights lately. I've been helping with my father. He's not in very good health. I've been working, just busy. And I had just kind of crashed in the chair. And I said something. One of the people said in my house said something that I did not respond the way that they liked. And at the same time that I said it, I looked in the mirror that was across on the other side of the room, and I saw the reflection of the person behind me, and they made a face. And I want you to know I carried that image to bed with me that night. You know, a lot of times in our life, we look at people and we make these gestures at people that are just awful. You know, the Bible says in John 13:35, they'll know that we are Christians by the love that we have for one another. That's how people will know. And, you know, it's easy to say, well, I love people, I love you, and be super Christian guy. You know, it's easy to say that when I'm at work or whenever I'm going around and I'm living my daily life. It's easy to say. But what about whenever I'm not in front of people and it's just my thoughts and the expression on my face? I deal with a lot of people every day, just one after another, and sometimes 3 or 4 after another, you know. And how is it whenever they turn around and they walk away? Even if I'm not happy with them, even if I'm not crazy about the things that they've said to me, or maybe they've been hurtful, do I portray someone who is a Christian? Do I? Matthew chapter 5, verse 21 through 26 tells the whole story about where murder begins. You know, if murder begins in your heart, right? You know, guys, it's just like this look of disgust and anger and this go to hell look that we give people. I would never look at someone and say go to hell, but I catch myself all the time looking at people with a reaction on my face, and more than once I'm looking at them and I've got that look on my face and someone else sees it, and does that person, even though the one that's walking away with their back toward me has no clue, what about that one? Wait a minute, what about that one? What about him, right? And more times than I can count, I've even looked in the mirror that way. Do you realize when I was getting ready, I've got this whole deal going through my mind of what I'm going to talk about to you, and I'm thinking about, okay, I want to say this, I want to say that, and I'm getting ready, and I'm getting, you know, cleaned up, and I'm putting glasses on, and I look at myself in the mirror, and I see myself, and I just instantly, as followers of Jesus, as followers of the cross, as those who live as someone that has been changed from the inside out, that means we need to take captive of all of who we are and place it in God's hands. And that's more than just our words. That's more than just what our t-shirts say. That's more than just what we interact with people like, you know, and you know, even though people can write those messages to Pastor Bob, people can say nasty things to guys like us in comments or whatever, you know, those people are special people, I guess. But at the very least, as Christians, we should never approach people that way. We should love people. We should love Jesus first, then we love others, and then we love ourselves. And part of that comes out in our expression. I want us to show the expression. I want it to become deeper than our hands and than our actions. I want it to come from within our heart and for our face to show the love of Jesus. It can be done, and we can do it.